Jai Hind to all. Today I am here to discuss some complex topic of cloud computing, and that topic belong to basically unit 3, and unit 3, that means the architecture of the cloud computing, cloud computing models. So in this unit here we will discuss the models of the cloud computing. So basically there are the two type of model, and that are well known model, and that is, as you know, that in cloud computing near about many concept, strategy, method, concept, definition are provided by the NIST, National Institute of Standard Technology, that is the USA based institutes or standard institutes. So here basically there are the two type of model. One is the service model and other is the deployment model. Okay, cloud service model and cloud deployment model. Cloud service model means what are the different ways to providing the services to the consumer. Okay, or you can say that what are the different types of services that can be provided to the consumer. That is the service model. Okay, and other is the cloud deployment model. Cloud deployment model means, deployment means what are the method, what are the ways by which we can establish cloud services, cloud computing services for our consumer. Okay, so this is the method of deployment, how to deploy the services. For whom? For consumer. Okay, for customer, for end user. So that is the cloud deployment model. Cloud service model, let us see in the brief what are the cloud service model, then we will come at the cloud deployment model. That is the basic topic of this recording. Okay, so cloud service model, as we know that in cloud computing the services, the resources, all these are provided in the terms of services, and these services are basically of three types. Okay, cloud software as a service, SaaS, then cloud platform as a service, PaaS, and the one more, cloud infrastructure as a service, IaaS. Okay, so these three kind of services are provided to the consumer, or you can say that every resources, every services can be categorized in either of any three service model. That may be either, that may belong to the software as a service, that may belong to platform as a service, that may belong to infrastructure as a service. Okay, so as we know that when we talk about the applications, when we talk about the software that can be used by the consumer, that come in the SaaS, software as a service. Okay, so that is basically user providers, use providers applications over a network. Okay, here user does not manage or control the network or server or OS or storage or applications. Okay, software as a service means software or application is provided to the consumer and that can only use as a service. Okay, consumer have no right, no control on the infrastructure as well as on the platform of that particular cloud computing model. Platform as a service, that means users deploy their applications on the cloud. So platform as a service means when we want to develop some new applications, when we want to develop some software, then what we need? That means we should have the platform, we should have the database management system, we should have the security management system, we should have runtime environment in which we can code, we can develop the application. So these kind of resources come under the platform, and that is provided as a platform as a service. So in this model, the user control their app. Okay, so when we come at the platform as a service, then user have the control over applications. Okay, control in the sense that can customize, that can modify, that can enhance. Okay, all these have in control of the consumer. But platform is not under the control. Platform as well as platform in the sense system kind of software, system software kind of things, runtime environment, database, okay, security management systems, and the infrastructure, that is the hardware kind of thing like server, storage, network. So these is not in the control of consumer. Okay, that is here platform as service is provided to the consumer. Cloud infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure means the particular resources that come, that is like the hardware type of resources. Okay, so rent, processing, storage, network capacity, and other fundamental computing resources that come under infrastructure as a service. Okay, consumer get access to the infrastructure to deploy their stuff, don't manage or control the infrastructure. So when they means consumer are provided this infrastructure as a service, then they have no control on the infrastructure, but they have the control on applications and on platform. So this is the service model architecture. So this is the cloud infrastructure that lies on the bottom. Okay, because this is the hardware kind of things, and means applications as well as platform both run on hardware infrastructure. That means for execution, for running of these two, we should have network, we should have internet connections, we should have server, memory, storage. So that come in the infrastructure as a service, and this is the platform as a service architecture. Okay, means this PaaS is there. Okay, then this is the IaaS, infrastructure as a service. So platform require infrastructure as a service. Again, this is the SaaS. So here we can say that on background infrastructure as a service is running, then that enable the PaaS to run, then these two enable the SaaS, software as a service, to run. Okay, and this is the traditional IT model. This is the difference between cloud model and this is traditional. Traditional means here everything the consumer have the control over everything: application, data, runtime, middleware, operating system, virtualization, server, storage, networking. Every feature are controlled by the consumer. But in cloud model, when we talk about the infrastructure as a service, so here we can see that when we are using infrastructure as a service, IaaS kind of service, then only we have the control over the applications, data, runtime, and middleware. That means we have the control over these are the applications and these are the platform. Okay, when we are taking the IaaS service, then we have control over software as well as we have the control over this platform, but we have no control on this hardware kind of thing, or you can say infrastructure kind of thing like virtualization, server, storage, networking. We have no control. When we are taking the platform as a service simply, then we have the only control on the software, because platform is provided in the form of service and this infrastructure is also not in the control of that consumer. And when we are taking software as a service, then we can see here these applications, data, everything is not in control of the user or the particular consumer. These are the some well-known vendor for different kind of services. For SaaS, this Google App Engine, Salesforce, these are the leading company. Then in PaaS, this Google App Engine, Windows Azure, Force.com, these are the leading company who are providing these services. Then infrastructure kind of thing, infrastructure as a service, Amazon Web Services, जिसको हम क्या बोलते हैं AWS, and then Google App Engine, Windows Azure. These are the three leading companies who are providing infrastructure as a service. Now we come at the topic which is known as a cloud deployment model. Okay, deployment, how to deploy the cloud services for the consumer, for the end user. So this deployment, when we talk about the deployment model, so these have four kind of ways by which we can deploy the service for the user, and that is the private deployment, and then public deployment, and then this is the community deployment, and then hybrid deployment. So these are the four kind of ways by which we can deploy the services for the consumer. Okay, let us see one by one. Private cloud. When we talk about the private cloud, as the name suggests, private cloud means this is the way by which the different kind of services are deployed as private service for a particular organization, for a particular consumer or client. And basically these kind of services are deployed in premises of that consumer, okay, or on campus of that consumer. That means data center and everything are managed in the campus of that particular client. And many times the expert who take care about these particular data centers, cloud servers, are deployed by the particular consumer only. But if consumer is not able to deploy that can hire from that particular cloud provider also. Okay, so the third party is hired for the take care of that particular cloud server or data center in premises of the consumer. So basically this is single organization only. So private cloud is that is taken for the single organization only, means single consumer is there, that may be any organization, any companies, and that managed by the organization or a third party. So this private cloud server or data center are managed by the either third party, that may be hired by the consumer or by the expert of the organization itself, on or off premises. So this type of private data center or cloud may be deployed in premises of that particular consumer, or if there is no proper venue is there in campus, that may be installed on some other site also. So that may be on or off campus. Then a public cloud. So public cloud that is sold to the public, mega scale infrastructure available to the general public, general purpose use. So when we talk about the private cloud, so private cloud is not the general purpose use. Okay, private cloud provide the services that are particularly focused on the need of a particular kind of user or consumer. Okay, but when we talk about the public cloud, there are the number of services, number of resources that are general purpose use, that are made for the general purpose use, like Google Meet classes, okay, email systems. So all these particular kind of services which can be used by anyone, that is generic in nature. Okay, So that is known as the public cloud, and that public cloud is totally under the control of consumer, that are totally under the control of consumer. Okay, that means not under the consumer, that is totally under the control of provider. Okay, and in fact data center, cloud, server, all these are managed and controlled by the vendor only. So that is at vendor side installation. Okay, then there is a concept of hybrid cloud. Okay, so private cloud for particular use, and the beauty of private cloud is that provide more secure applications, platform and infrastructure for the consumer. If you feel that your data is much critical, much sensitive, then you should go for the private cloud. Okay, because public cloud is not much secure as compared of the private cloud. Okay, because number of people are using that. Okay, and the services are deployed over the internet, that is highly vulnerable network. Then the hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud is a option where either we can make the group of public private cloud, or we can use the community cloud also. So this hybrid cloud is the composition of two or more clouds and bound by standard or proprietary technologies. Okay, just like suppose we feel that we have many confidential applications, confidential data processing required. They are the critical data and applications, sensitive data and applications. So certainly we should go for the private cloud for the data processing of that particular confidential information. But we know that private cloud, certainly that will be costly for the consumer in comparison of the public cloud. Okay, so you cannot afford private cloud for every applications, for every data processing. So many times you should have private cloud as well as the public cloud, both deployments should be there for you. So private cloud is only used for the critical information processing, sensitive information processing, and public cloud is used for the generic use, for general purpose use. Okay, so this is the hybrid cloud, that is the composition of two or more cloud. Community cloud, there is other option, and this community cloud lies between private and public cloud. So this community cloud services lies between private cloud and public cloud, that lies between private and public cloud. Why? Because community cloud is the deployment of the services for a particular community, not for a single organization, not for all organization, all type of general purpose, general public. Okay, so there is some set of users who have same kind of working culture, same kind of domain. Okay, so this type of domain is known as community. When the number of organization, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, have the same kind of working culture, same domain is there, so that organization, a set of organization is known as community. So community cloud means when some services are provided to a set of users. So this shared infrastructure for a specific community, okay, like for example, you can take the example of number of organizations are there who are engaged in teaching and learning process, like educational institutions, okay. So each and every educational institution have the same kind of working culture, okay. They are the timetable, and they are the particular schedule for every faculties, student come in the classes as per the schedule, and there is a attendance monitoring system, okay. Faculty have to upload the attendance. There is a marks team who process the marks, who do the result analysis. So same kind of working culture is there. So here we can say that the number of different educational institutions who engage in the same teaching learning process may come under one community, okay. So that is the specific community. So here share infrastructure for a specific community. Several organizations that have shared concern means who are the how you define the community. So the organization that have shared concern. Here community cloud is managed by the third party or the organization itself, okay. So these are the cloud deployment model. Let us see the private cloud in much more detail. So cloud infrastructure built in house, okay, that retains control of resources. Who retains the control of resources? Tell me, who retain the control of resources? The organization, the consumer hai the control of resources, control of the services. In the case of private cloud, more security and privacy. I have already told you, when you have the concern of security, confidentiality, authentication, authorization, you should have go for this particular private cloud, okay, that have the better security measure in comparison of other cloud, other deployment. So this private cloud provide better confidentiality, better confidentiality, better integrity, better availability, okay. This is the security, better confidentiality of the data, better integrity of the data and application, and better availability of the application, because that is the private cloud for you, and you can access when you require, that will be readily available for use, okay. And this can conform to the regulatory requirements, okay. So you should have some regulatory requirement you should satisfy when you are going to for the private cloud, because that cloud may be installed at your organization. So what are the requirement of that particular installation? That's all you have to fulfill. All the regulatory compliance you have to follow. Needs capital investment. This is costly, as I have already told you. More secure but costly, okay. For general purpose you should not go for that. More effort is there required, cost is required, labor is required, and then needs expertise to build and maintain. So you should have hire expert, skilled persons who can configure, who can customize, who can take care about that particular data center or the cloud server. Then private cloud, as this is the outsourced private cloud, okay, and this is the on-site private cloud. So both facilities available. You can outsource the private cloud, that means the this installation as well as the maintenance, configuration, all these are managed by some third party and off premises, and this is on your premises. Advantage of private cloud: extensive security option and capabilities, substantially more than the public cloud, availability to the internal network and increased access or communication for the internal users, can grow with the business and expanded or change as needed. So whenever your business increase, your business enhance, you can enhance your private cloud also. Disadvantage: significant level of engagement are required, okay, both from both management and IT department. Significant investment is required. Does not deliver the short term solutions, okay, given the required time needed to build it out than the public cloud does. And this is important. That means when you are using the private cloud, so when you want to enhance the deployment, you want to change some services or the deployment, then that is not just 1 second, 1 minute means time required. In that case, you should give some proper time, because that is managed at your site only, okay. But this is not the case of public cloud, because that is maintained and managed by the owner, vendor, so that easily can be configured, can be changed in compare of private cloud. Example of private vendor: this HP is Hewlett Packard Enterprise, the key leader, VMware, Dell, Oracle, okay, and this Microsoft, Cisco, all these are the leading company who are providing private cloud services. Public cloud: this is available to the everyone, for the general purpose use. Anyone can go and sign up for the service. Economies of scale due to size is high, so this is economical, okay. Some public cloud concern like ownership, control, regulatory compliance, data and application security, liability for SLA breaches, okay. So all these are managed by the vendor, owner of the cloud. And this particular, this is the diagram and everything I have taken from this http://cleancloud.com, okay. So this is the citation for this one, and from same site I have taken this diagram also. This is the public cloud, okay. Cloud consumer accessing the cloud over the network. This is the internet, and this is the consumer enterprise network, okay. And we are taking the services through this internet from the public cloud in our organization. Advantage of public cloud: certainly this is increased network efficiency and more resources are available. Reduced complexity and lead time, because the architecture is fixed, okay. And ready to go applications used within the public cloud, and that can conform to the demand of business. Disadvantage of public cloud: fewer option for customization, okay. Substantially less secure. Fixed architecture cannot grow with the needs of the business. These are the disadvantages of the public cloud. Example of public cloud vendor: Google Cloud Engine, Salesforce.com, AWS, Microsoft 365, all these are the leading vendor who provide the public cloud services, who deploy the services as the public. Hybrid cloud: best for both world. Workload is deployed mostly on private cloud. Resource can be used from public cloud when there is a surge in peak load. Okay, so both is there. When public cloud is also, and private cloud deployment is also for the consumer. Okay, so this is also taken from the cleancloud.com, this diagram. Hybrid cloud. The cloud infrastructure is a composition of two or more distinct cloud infrastructure. Okay, that may be private, community, or public, that remain unique entities but bound together by the standardized or proprietary technologies. Okay, that enable data and application portability. So as we know that in hybrid, they are the public and private both, and data may travel from private to public, from public to private. So there should be some standard technologies, proprietary technologies, that enable this movement of the data from public to private, private to public. So this bridge is provided by the different standard technology or proprietary technology. Okay. Hybrid cloud computing enable an enterprise to deploy an on-premises private cloud to host sensitive or critical workloads who are more confidential, and use a third party public cloud provider to host less critical resources such as test and development workloads. Netflix, Hulu, Uber, Airbnb, all are the leading company who provide hybrid deployment of the services for their client. Advantage: best for both public and private, added accessibility for internal and external users, security parameters are higher than the public cloud. Okay. Disadvantage: inherent inefficiency of monitoring several different security platform, customization rules and policies to govern security and the element of infrastructure, added security risk. Example of hybrid clouds: Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, Oracle, all these. And the community cloud, as I have told you, that is targeted to a particular set of users, and community cloud computing refer to the shared cloud computing, okay, that are provided to a particular community. And this is the advantage and disadvantage of this community. Flexibility and scalability is, then complexity is disadvantage, availability advantage, security is only as good as your IT staff. Okay, securities, and this is your support required. Compliance is the advantage. Remote access may be limited. Okay, control level of privacy. Disadvantage: increased IT staff. Example of hybrid cloud vendors: these are the hybrid cloud vendors. Okay, and common. So okay, thank you. Thanks to all. Jai Hind.